And we are very lucky to have one in this Teacher Leadership Summit, Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future. Okay, now let me welcome a gracious and an eminent personality from the field of education in Pakistan as our keynote speaker, Sir Abbas Husain. He is a director, Teachers Development Center, and he is a lifetime member of SPELT. His vast experience is really a gift for every teacher of our country. He has trained around 85,000 teachers across the country, and he has also received Lifetime Achievement Award by Millennium Professional Development Institute, presented by Muhsin Pakistan, Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan. I'm so thankful to him for joining us on this summit, and he is a great supporter as well. So I would like to welcome Sir Abbas Husain. Ji. Okay, as soon as Sir Abbas' presentation starts, Umema, would you like to share something about this? Umema, am I audible?
Hello, Meher, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, sir. Good morning.
Meher, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Janab, I had sent the recording of my presentation.
Yes, I know. I'm waiting for
Please
that.
Please play that. Haan, bas theek hai. All right, thank you.
Start, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honor and privilege to be amongst the keynote speakers on this International Teacher Leadership Summit. My topic is Beyond 10,000 Hours, Being a True Pro. I'm going to unpack the title, the words of this title, step by step, and offer a way by which we can be, in the words of Andy Hargreaves, a true pro. 10,000 hours are the number of hours that one must put in before mastery of any kind is possible. And it is interesting that this number, 10,000 hours, is a convergence. It has arrived as a convergence from separate streams of thinkers, geniuses who have been working on the human mind, on learning, on the ways by which we can be valuable as human beings to have a life worth living. 10,000 hours is a number given to us by Howard Gardner in his amazing, useful book, 5 Minds for the Future. Howard Gardner says that the disciplined mind is just not possible without putting in 10,000 hours of effort. That is, in our own language, in our own idiom, a word for tapasya. It is the kind of effort, the tedium, the boredom, the patches of unrelenting fatigue that may beset us as we take out the time and the energy and, as we say, plunge on, as we say, flounder, and keep at it. Putting in 10,000 hours of effort is basic. There are no shortcuts. So the effort of Howard Gardner in making us remember 10,000 hours is one stream of thinking. Added to that stream is someone with whom he is working together now, Robert Cooper. Robert Cooper is our, shall we say, emotional intelligence expert who has connected EQ from the home and the family to the world of the corporate. He's the one who's given us the book Executive EQ, and he is the one who's taken it into organizations, to the corporate world. Robert Cooper also mentions 10,000 hours. That is basic for claiming expertise and mastery in anything. Surprisingly, a third stream of thinking coming from the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a very strange name, and I have read in his writings that when I begin a workshop, I take my name and immediately laugh and say, "Call me Mike." Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has given us the word flow. From his work on human psychology of excellence, he has described this incredible state when one is so engrossed in the work that time itself comes to an end and the awareness of time passing goes. And the idea, it is a moment when the task and the person doing the task become one and the same. It is something which one might imagine. Yeats, in one of his poems, asking this question: how can we see the dancer from the dance? There is a time when the dancer is the dance itself. It is such a total. That kind of, one might say, indulgence, that kind of total immersion of passion, knowledge, will, and the human body all combining into one in a state of flow. That is the description. The man who gave us that is connected to the word flow. That's what the word flow. And from his work also we come upon the number 10,000 hours. So a very good question we must ask is, if as teachers we need to be professionals, and if as teachers we need to commit our time and our energies, where is that cutoff point, where is that benchmark? And the short answer is, if we are to be true professionals, we need to go beyond the 10,000. Hence the title of my talk. So we now see that I have been able to unpack the opening. From there opens up a moral question. What is it that stops us from becoming true professionals? What gets in the way? What is it that gets in the way? And many answers, but I have benefited enormously by the work of Professor Andy Hargreaves. Professor Hargreaves, he knows that I hold him in great regard, very, very high regard. And his work and his voice has been a constant source of light and wisdom to all my work. And this is also by way of tribute, that both these words, beyond a true pro, this clause comes from his work on professional capitalism. Okay, professional capital. Okay, that conversation will go somewhere else. Being a true, what is it that stops us from being true professionals? And the answer is a word used by Dr. Hargreaves in a paper way back, I think 2008, the persistence of presentism. Dr. Hargreaves has taken, if you like, the bull by the horns. He has captured in one word the major issue that has now writ large upon the work of teachers and heads and school leaders and parents around the planet. That word is presentism. Presentism. Good word. It is an extremely, shall we say, it is the polar opposite of the spiritual practice of being in the present moment. This is not what it is. He's not talking about being in the present. That is wonderful. Being in the present is a marvelous awareness of being able to put the past aside and all the regrets that go with it, being able to put the future aside and all the fears that go with it, and all the uncertainties and all the fog that goes with it, and being able to be fully aware of the present. That is wonderful. But no, this is not what he's talking. Presentism is a state of mind in which we attend to the banal, the frivolous, the irrelevant, the ephemeral, the superficial, the pure gloss of the moment, available in the moment, and we pay attention to it and thereby neglect the important, the worthy, the noble, the value adding, the deep thing. Is present. So, an extremely powerful diagnosis of the issue of our times has been captured in this one word, presentism. Truly, we are destroyed. Truly, who am I to blame everyone else? I too am guilty. Truly, we are destroyed by the endless Facebook scrolling, doom scrolling, as Seth Godin calls it. We are self destroyed. We know there is important work to do. We know there are important books to read. We know how hard it is to write. I'm coming to that in a moment. And presentism, this leakage of time, this frittering away of minutes and seconds, and paying attention to the banal, the unworthy, the frivolous, the gloss, the glitter, the glamour. It is a sad comment, but this is exactly how. In the lockdowns in the city of Karachi, at a time when the children are around us, at a time when there is so much to do, what is it that stops us from turning that time into quality time with the children? Presentism. This attention to the inane, this attention to the unworthy, the completely forget. So now we see we have in our hands what must be done 10,000 hours, and then going beyond that. Then we know why it must be done. We want to be truly professional. We want to be worthy of being a true pro in our profession. And what is it that gets in the way? The answer, one word, presentism. Now, if you are with me so far, I now turn to another deep question that emerges out of this. And the question is, sir, we understand that the 10,000 hours are important. What should we spend those 10,000 hours in? What should we be doing in those 10,000 hours and beyond? And the rest of this talk is going to focus on that answer. 10,000 hours. So a good question then is, what do we do? Yes, sir, we understand. We shouldn't fill them up with the fritters and the frittering away. Yeah, we got that. And in my abstract, which I have given out for this conference, and for which the administrators of the conference, Rafi Mudassir and Farheen Hassan and Meher Kamran and the team, Azra Ali and the team, they know in the abstract I have taken the four language skills as a metaphor worth doing in and beyond the 10,000 hours as we move towards our expertise and towards our excellence. What I'm now going to do is go skill by skill, listening, speaking, reading, writing. And in that process, give you a sort of a menu of things to do so that, and I remember Goethe, who puts it very well, it is easy to say no when there is a deeper yes burning inside. It's easy to say no when there is a deeper yes burning inside. And my take on it is easy to say no to unworthy tasks, to silly stuff, crazy stuff, when in the heart there is a deeper purpose, a deeper, shall we say, cause, dedication. When I have said yes to something deeper, it is easy to say no to something shallow. Holding on to that, we then turn to the four language skills as a grid, if you like, as a handle to devise our time and to spend it so that it moves us on the path of being a true pro rather than becoming the the kind of people we see. Rusty. I think I'll pause that. Listening. Once upon a time, if I needed to hear good spoken English, living in Pakistan, I remember, not well, quite a while ago, the only English on the electronic media that I had access to was the 9 minutes or 10 of the English news bulletin on Pakistan television. One channel, the state channel. I'm talking about a long time ago. And at 7 p.m. through 7:10, all we had, that was the only English we had access to. In time, the world opened up. In time, we had very many more channels. And in time, the electronic medium just exploded. So listening now has opened up into enormous possibilities. And I would like my younger colleagues, those who are starting out in the world of teaching, those who are coming into teacher leadership positions, those who are thinking of that whole career path that we talked about, listening. What an enormous resource is now. Those who are familiar with my work would know immediately that I mentioned TED Talks, of course. TED Talks have simply changed the whole medium of presentation. It has just changed the landscape of speaking, public speaking. TED Talks are a remarkable resource, free of charge, open to anybody who is interested, and as many times as you like. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty. As Salman Khan of Khan Academy says, that he stumbled upon the idea of Khan Academy videos when he was trying to teach maths to his cousins. He found that his cousins weren't very happy when he repeated or when he was asked to repeat. third, fourth, fifth time. Whereas a recording of his explanation was accessible anytime. There's a tongue-in-cheek joke there, and it is there on Salman Khan's TED talk. Listening. I find it remarkable that teachers who have problems in speaking don't realize that there must be quality listening before you are able to speak. And the quantum of listening is much more before you are able to utter, before you are able to produce. So, listening then is not just of ideas, it is of ideas and thought and content. It is also of accents and modes of speaking. And the point is not that you imitate any other accent than yourself, your own genuine accent. The point is not that. The point is that what TED offers is a whole variety. So you have people speaking in English having origins around the world. So you can listen to a talk from a Balochistan speaker or Elif Shafak of Turkey or somebody from France. All people or China. All people, scholars, thinkers, authors, Nobel Prize winners, economists, generalists, journalists, author, novelists, all of them, depending on your interest. No talk is more than 18 minutes. That's the TED rule. If at all you see a talk of more than 18 minutes, it will go on to 20. It is simply because at the end of the speech, there is some conversation with the TED management and Chris Anderson and the speaker, or the audience just gives enormous applause and there is some exchange, and that is exchange. Otherwise, well, anyway, that's there. Most talks are between 12 to 18 minutes, and what a lot in 5 minutes if one knows what one is. Those who know of my work would immediately know David Brooks. Just 5 minutes. Okay, listen. That isn't the only thing you need to listen. You need, there are now university professors' podcasts, and they are there by. There are now workshops in which you are able to go to YouTube and listen to the keynote addresses given in conferences around the world where you could not be physically present, and the entire talk has been carefully recorded and uploaded on. So therefore, listening is an enormous resource. You can't remain a teacher, leave alone a teacher leader. You can't become if you don't have access to the finest ideas of the finest thinkers are now available, and it is the generosity of the internet that all these things are available free of charge in a manner of speaking. Yes, the computer you listen to and the web connection, the internet connection costs. Yeah, yeah, of course. There is simply no comparison. So on listening, I have just opened the window. Take a look at various universities and the departments of language and linguistics and see what professors are put podcasts there. There are self-motivation podcasts. There are websites that look at improving oneself as a person. So there is the School of Life materials, superb materials, and so on and so forth. As you know, one of the main problems of the internet is simply a lot of choice. We have a lot of. Okay. Listen, we turn to speaking. And about speaking, I'm not much worried about your improvement in language skills and English and all that. I'm not going to get into that. I'm now talking about speaking as a way of building your social capital. How do you get along with your colleagues? And I believe that in this conversation, in this keynote, one of the things to perhaps take as a handle, as a something to get a grip around is recognize that there is such a thing as the art of the difficult conversation. It is so easy to have a difference of opinion with someone. That's okay. That's easy. But the sad thing about our world is that we live in a cancel culture. We simply unfriend that person, disconnect with that person, and just say, "Acha, acha, baste. I'm not dealing with this person anymore." Not good. The art of the difficult conversation is perhaps one of the most powerful tools you need to develop in the skill of speaking. If you want to be a pro, if you want to be a teacher leader, one of the things you need to master is to be able to disagree without being disagreeable. I love this sentence. To disagree without being disagreeable, without losing respect, without coming out crude and coarse and coming out upset. No, the art of the difficult conversation is the most valuable thing we need as teacher leaders as we move forward in our tasks as teacher leaders. So the words coaching and mentoring come into this. And actually, I define coaching and mentoring both as ways of speaking. Ways of speaking. A mentoring role means a particular kind of conversation. A coaching role means a particular kind of speaking. That's what it is. So, in the second skill, I would put this as our menu, as the task ahead. Read up on this. Read up on this. There are websites that have excellent resources on coaching and on mentoring. There are websites which explore this whole thing about how can you share the wisdom you have with a person who needs it without being crude. How do you do this without making that person feel? How do you do this? There is a style to this. We now turn to reading. And in that one word, those who are my fans and those who know of my work would know there's no hope at all. Without reading, there is no hope at all. And we live in an age where reading is becoming harder and harder and harder to do. Even by those well meaning souls who want to do it, find it extremely hard. It is because the distractions that throw us from the kind of focus that we need to be able to read. I sometimes say to my students, you know, what you need very good, what you need to have a kind of power in as a reader is not good eyesight, but a backbone. The capacity to sit on a chair or a comfortable place and to have a book open before you and to read it. It is the capacity of your backbone. It's the way in which you comfortably hold yourself for hours while a particular thought is explored before you in words by an author of an extremely high caliber. When I'm reading, I'm exchanging my time with quality time of the life of the author. author has spent time exploring something for which I had neither the wit, nor the capacity, nor the resources to do. Somebody else around the world has done so and has offered me as a gift a book where his results are all there for me to take, apply, implement, improve reading. There's no hope at all if you don't read. And friends, please don't misunderstand me. No, 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 no. Don't get me wrong. To read on a mobile phone is possible in an emergency. Yeah, sure. I'm not talking. You must read on a tablet or on a book. The size of the screen on which you see a page size, a paperback book size, is extremely important because of letter font size 8. 8 is the letter font size of a newspaper. 10, most books. 12, again, most textbooks and most scholarly books. Headings and others are above 14 and more. I hope you understand. I'm talking about the font sizes. So, in order to really enjoy a good book, you need to first of all make sure that the font isn't so small that you need to squint. That is an extra effort. That is a muscular effort that makes you not be able to read for a long stretch of time. And so, in the vast variety of materials available on PDFs, on EPUBs, on downloadable books, I have nothing to add. Simply, it's a treasure worth the seeking. It is all there, free of charge, downloadables. Friends, go ahead and get it. And if you really need help, I'm available. Just send an email to me and I'll just zap you whatever you want on a good many educational topics that, in a very humble way, I spend my time on reading. And we come to the final language skill, which is writing. Writing, Francis Bacon was it? Reading maketh a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact. I'm sure since Bacon was writing in the 17th century, we can add woman to. We are gender sensitive. So, yes, when he says man, he means and woman. There's nothing quite like writing. And I like to pick up this whole idea about how, in the country where we are, in our ethos, in our culture, there's something hostile, there are forces that stop us from writing. And yes, some of it is quite common sense. Somebody put it nicely, writing brings about a change in a culture only when there is reading. Let me phrase it properly. Writing brings about a change in a culture of reading. So if we have a nation of non-readers, writing seems to be a bit of a disconnect. It's like saying, yeah, no matter what I write, no matter what I do, who's going to read it and who's going to act on it? True, it can get depressing, it can get difficult. But no, we are not talking about changing the world thanks to our writing. Yeah, that's another level, and it happens, by the way. Let us not be, too morose about this. Let us not worry about this too much, please. Ultimately, it is surprising how much can be done by writing and how much is being done despite all the other caveats and other things that we see. I would like to take this point from Jordan Peterson in one of his YouTube talks where he says, Professors of colleges and universities fail to make clear to the students about the point of the written exercises and assignments and dissertations and theses that they make them do. And he puts it very, very clearly and briefly. Writing is a way of thinking. Writing makes me know what I think and how I think about it. Writing makes me know what I think unto myself. I can have my thoughts in my mind jumbled up like noodles, like a spaghetti, all confused and inchoate and jumbled. Writing allows me to pick up a strand of a noodle and pull it out, and then I have it on paper before me, and I'm now able to decide which part is worthy, which part is, and then only I realize what I was thinking. Writing makes me know what I did not know I knew, said E.M. Forster. He was right. Writing allows me to know parts of myself which I knew only at an unconscious level, and the act of writing allows me to put them all out and to see them and examine them objectively, to be then able to keep the parts I want and throw away, cancel, put aside the parts I don't. Writing. Reflective journals are an excellent tool. Writing after each workshop, quickly, three things that went well and three things that didn't go well in the workshop. That is excellent. Preparing and preserving notes of your impressions of various learning experiences is one thing. Writing short notes about books that you read and the worthy thoughts that you've been able to take from it is important. Putting index cards inside every important book that you pick up, putting index cards in them. And whenever you come upon a nice sentence, you write that sentence down and then you write your own interpretation of it. What do you get from it? And put a date to it and put that card back in the book and put the book back on the shelf. You'll be surprised how a year later, 2 years later, when you pick up that book and you open that card, you realize with great surprise how spot on it was or not. You realize how much you have grown. You realize how much. So there are these ways by which writing can be a kind of a soundtrack to the film of our life. In the old days, you used to have films with the soundtrack going on the side. That is a nice metaphor to think that there are these images that make the film. That's our life. And writing diaries, reflective journals, notes, comments, and in a world of email and in a world of various social media, there's a lot that one is able to put out there. There is Quora, Quora, there is Quora, a site I have a good relationship with, and those who would like, you might want to follow me there, writing. So what then do the 10,000 hours go into? It goes into a medley of these four skills. Listen, listen to great things. Speak, have difficult conversations. Read, read a variety. And write, write to clarify your own thinking unto yourself. For you will marvel the moment you do so. The whole quality of your attention and the whole quality of your speech changes, and so does your impact unto your students, unto your colleagues, unto the people. And that brings me towards a conclusion. All teachers are leaders of the children in their class. All children, all teachers lead the children in their class. All teachers lead the ideas in the curriculum. I believe that teacher leadership belongs to all teachers. We only need to recognize its value and its importance. And on that high note, which brings me to about 38 minutes, I conclude. Best wishes to the organizers of the conference, best wishes to the team leader, Rafia Mudassir, and the team which is hosting this. And on this morning, on the 1st of August, Sunday, good luck on the third day of the Teacher Leadership Summit. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Sir Abbas. Thanks a lot for your enlightening words. And I'm sure that it has opened the new windows of thinking in the mind of our teachers and will really help them to sharpen their focus. It's really worth listening to you. Thanks a lot, Sir Abbas. Okay. As you know, change comes from action. Action comes from doing, and doing help us learn. The power of learning through doing or play, taking part in hands-on or practical activities, they should never be underestimated, regardless of whether we are children or adults. So now moving to the next speaker, I would like to introduce Dr. Shalina Bhimani. Dr. Shalina is PhD in Early Childhood Development. Currently, she is associated with Aga Khan University in the capacity of assistant professor. She has worked in various national and international organizations like AKF, USAID, AKESP, HANDS, and Aman Foundation. Dr. Bhimani has published nationally and internationally to advocate education and development. So please, may I have you, Dr. Shalina? Dr. Shalina, I think there is some connectivity issues. She has joined.
Yeah, she is there, Mr. Mema. Dr. Shalina, may we have your presence? Your mic is mute. Kindly please unmute your mic first.
Okay, she's right here.
Thank you so much. So you'll have to allow me to unmute. Can you also allow me screen share? Thank you so much for having me. You have just mentioned importance of play, and pragmatic learning can never ever be disregarded when we talk about education and learning. So hello everyone, welcome. I hope you are all feeling well. Let's just quickly say good morning to everyone. So may I request everyone to please type GM in the chat log. And let's just wish everyone a very good morning. So GM with a smiley face from my side, great. Please allow me screen share. Have you allowed me screen share? Great, thank you so much. All righty. Just in order to ensure that the connection remains stable, I'll go off from my video and then start off with my presentation. And for the Q&A, I'll come again for the video. I would request everyone to please be interactive, use your chat logs, and be as expressive as you can. So let's just get started. So if you can see my presentation, do you think, can you type 1 in the chat log?
Yes, please. It's visible.
Great. So thank you so much. Today we'll be talking about importance of play and how essential it is in virtual learning in times of COVID or post-COVID, you can say. I'd like to have a disclosure before we get started that there is no conflict of interest whatsoever. This is a voluntary venture, and I truly regard Nurul Huda Foundation, Rafia, and the team a heart acknowledgement for like doing this type of activity, and bringing all the educators in and allowing an academic discourse. The pictures that I've used in my presentation is from the open sources. You can just Google and find these pictures. These pictures are free to be used. Anything that I'm sharing here does not reflect any of my institutional ideology. So once again, welcome to all of you. I'll just skip off my introduction. You can see the screen. I'll count till 10, and I would request you that, from using these alphabets, come up with the words that you can. So on the count of 10, 1, make words, whichever alphabets, you think you can pull together, just make words and type in the chat log. So on the count of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yes, it's pen, it's play, it's try, it's play, it's learn, it's metrics, it's pearl, 10, lip, pair. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, play is also something like these jumbled up alphabets. Play is also everywhere, anywhere, and you can, by bringing different things, you can convert any play into structured play, into free play, into mindful play. Play is all around us, just like these words. What play allow is to be creative. So understand that thumb rule of play is that it needs to have an output of creation. Creativity is a mother, or you can say the invention of play. Let's proceed further. Like the scientists and many researchers, they have studied various human development aspects, and they have come to the conclusion that specifically in younger ages, or specifically the ages where the children are in the school, the learning is always a synonym defined as play. So when you say play, the teachers and educators should think it as learning. When you say learning, take synonym as play. So learning and play are synonym of each other. If as teachers, educators, we would just consider this one thumb rule that by learning we mean play, by playing we mean learn, I think we'll change the landscape of education completely. Interestingly, conventional play has been there in the schools with respect to outdoor play, with respect to play that we initiate in the classrooms, structure play. But now technology has taken over the education milieu for the good. And hence, it's very important for teachers to understand how to incorporate technology, content, connections, creativity, and virtual pedagogy into the play and into learning. The world is advancing. We know that no matter how much adverse impact a technology may have on children and its students, but technology is also one of the aids to promote education. Technology is one of the new thing that is there. Technology is there to make our life easier. So it is up to a teacher and an educator or a caregiver or a parent to see how they can make technology more constructive and more playful rather than providing an adverse impact of the technology on the kids. So I'll give you one example. If you're really, as a teacher, if you're taking a break and you're asking your teacher, oh, why don't you just watch a movie and, or a video and I'll just check copies. I think this is where you are allowing kids to be more entertained by technology. But if you're actually giving some assignment or purpose to that technology, then you're converting that technology into a very constructive learning aid. So it's very important to understand that how technology can be used in a more constructive manner. Technology is not bad. How we translate technology into play and learning is what makes it good and bad or constructive. So technology has a huge part in play and development and learning of students that we have in our school or at home or in any setting. It's a very famous saying, by the researchers, by academicians,